safety, and how citizens can help. Tune in, ask questions, be a part of the conversation that builds a safer Liberia. Police Dialogue, working together for peace, protection, and progress. Police Dialogue, join the Liberian National Police and community leaders for weekly conversation on safety, rights, and road safety. Tune in on the official LNP Facebook page, Police Dialogue, working together for peace, protection, and progress. Have you ever wondered how the Liberian National Police keep our community safe? Want to know your rights in the role you play? Introducing Police Dialogue, an interactive public service podcast. Each week, senior officers, law enforcement experts, and community leaders discuss crime prevention, community policing, road safety, and how citizens can help. Tune in, ask questions, be a part of the conversation that builds a safer Liberia. Police Dialogue, working together for peace, protection, and progress. Police Dialogue, join the Liberian National Police and community leaders for weekly conversation on safety, rights, and road safety. Tune in on the official LNP Facebook page, Police Dialogue, working together for peace, protection, and progress. Have you ever wondered how the Liberian National Police keep our community safe? Want to know your rights in the role you play? Introducing Police Dialogue, an interactive public service podcast. Each week, senior officers, law enforcement experts, the community leaders discuss crime prevention, community policing, road safety, and how citizens can help. Tune in, ask questions, be a part of the conversation that builds a safer Liberia. Police Dialogue, working together for peace, protection, and progress. Police Dialogue, join the Liberian National Police and community leaders for weekly conversation on safety, rights, and road safety. Tune in on the official LNP Facebook page, Police Dialogue, working together for peace. Have you ever wondered how the Liberian National Police keep our community safe? Want to know your rights in the role you play? Introducing Police Dialogue, an interactive public service podcast. Each week, senior officers, law enforcement experts, the community leaders discuss crime prevention, community policing, road safety, and how citizens can help. Tune in, ask questions, be a part of the conversation that builds a safer Liberia. Police Dialogue, working together for peace, protection, and progress. Police Dialogue, join the Liberian National Police and community leaders for weekly conversation on safety, rights, and road safety. Tune in on the official LNP Facebook page, Police Dialogue, working together for peace, protection, and progress. Have you ever wondered how the Liberian National Police keep our community safe? Want to know your rights in the role you play? Introducing Police Dialogue, an interactive public service podcast. Each week, senior officers, law enforcement experts, the community leaders discuss crime prevention, community policing, road safety, and how citizens can help. Tune in, ask questions, be a part of the conversation that builds a safer Liberia. Police Dialogue, working together for peace, protection, and progress. Police Dialogue, join the Liberian National Police and community leaders for weekly conversation on safety, rights, and road safety. Tune in on the official LNP Facebook page, Police Dialogue, working together for peace, protection, and progress. Have you ever wondered how the Liberian National Police keep our community safe? Want to know your rights and the role you play? Introducing Police Dialogue, an interactive public service podcast. Each week, senior officers, law enforcement experts, the community leaders discuss crime prevention, community policing, road safety, and how citizens can help. Tune in, ask questions, be a part of the conversation that builds a safer Liberia. Police Dialogue, working together for peace, protection, and progress. Police Dialogue, join the Liberian National Police and community leaders for weekly conversation on safety, rights, and road safety. Tune in on the official LNP Facebook page, Police Dialogue, working together for peace, protection, and progress. Have you ever wondered how the Liberian National Police keep our community safe? Want to know your rights and the role you play? Introducing Police Dialogue, an interactive public service podcast. Each week, senior officers, law enforcement experts, the community leaders discuss crime prevention, community policing, road safety, and how citizens can help. Tune in, ask questions, be a part of the conversation that builds a safer Liberia. Police Dialogue, working together for peace, protection, and progress. Police Dialogue, join the Liberian National Police and community leaders for weekly conversation on safety, rights, and road safety. Tune in on the official LNP Facebook page, Police Dialogue, working together for peace. Progress. Have you ever wondered how the Liberian National Police keep our community safe? Want to know your rights and the role you play? Introducing Police Dialogue, an interactive public service podcast. Each week, senior officers, law enforcement experts, the community leaders discuss crime prevention, community policing, road safety, and how citizens can help. Tune in, ask questions, be a part of the conversation that builds a safer Liberia.
And legal discussions that affects thousands of Liberians and their families. Immigration fraud and visa scams have become a national crisis. Families are losing their life savings, students are being deceived, workers are being exploited, and many Liberians are unknowingly breaking the law, both here and abroad. As law enforcement, the Liberian National Police has the responsibility to protect citizens from these criminal enterprises. But protection is only part of the solution. Justice and legal accountability are equally important. Today, we are joined by 3 experts who will help us understand how these crimes work and how to identify fraudsters. We have Mr. Christopher Dennis and Sharon H. George, both licensed, regulated professional authorized to provide Canadian immigration service and representation. We'll also be joined by Seva, a Liberian lawyer, who will give the legal roadmap as it relates to prosecuting the crimes here in Liberia. This is a Police Dialogue. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll join our guests for the discussion.
Working together for peace, protection, and progress. Police Dialogue, join the Liberian National Police and community leaders for weekly conversation on safety, rights, and road safety. Tune in on the official LNP Facebook page, Police Dialogue, working together for peace, protection, and progress. rights and the role you play? Introducing Police Dialogue, an interactive public service podcast. Each week, senior officers, law enforcement experts, the community leaders discuss crime prevention, community policing, road safety, and how citizens can help. Tune in, ask questions, be a part of the conversation that builds a safer Liberia. Police Dialogue, working together for peace, protection, and progress. Police Dialogue. Join the Liberian National Police and community leaders for weekly conversation on safety, rights, and road safety. Tune in on the official LNP Facebook page, Police Dialogue, working together for...
Thanks for rejoining us on this Thursday edition of the Police Dialogue, a public service program produced by the Liberian National Police. Today we're looking at immigration fraud and visa scam. And we have three individuals as our guests: Christopher Dennis, Sharon H. George, and Seva. They will be discussing the danger associated with immigration fraud and visa scam. Can we now have Chris?
Yeah, hi.
How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, and good morning to your audience. I'm excited to be a part of this conversation, and I want to thank the Liberian National Police for engaging with us as well as we, discuss about the growing concerns of most Liberians who have the urge to travel abroad, not only to Canada, but to other countries as well. And this concerns about immigration fraud and scam. So I'll be more than happy to contribute to our conversation as your first series of this engagement. Thanks for having me, Samuel.
Thank you so much. As we await Sharon and Say to commence this important discussion here from the studio of the Liberian National Police. And now we have Sharon. Sharon, welcome to the dialogue.
Thank you. We really appreciate the opportunity to be here this morning and from our end and speak to people and just participate in this dialogue and kind of provide clarity to those who want to benefit from opportunities that are out there internationally. Thank you so much for having me.
Liberia for some minutes after 4, and you guys have the morning hours and to wake up and join us on this important program. Christopher Dennis, tell our audience, who is Christopher Dennis and what expertise does he bring to this discussion?
I'm Christopher Dennis, and I hail from Liberia, of course, from Lamkoye-Kiparnima County, where I grew up. And subsequently, after several years, I came to Canada, and through my own personal experience as a IT professional in my journey of life as an IT system engineer, but I had my own challenges as every other immigrant would have in different countries. So because of my own experience here in Canada, I decided to go back to school to understand the Canadian immigration law and to be able to practice immigration law in Canada, and also to be able to help others who are navigating the harshest of times of the Canadian immigration system. So I went to Queen's University, where I studied immigration and citizenship law from the Queen's University Faculty of Law. And subsequently, I got my license to practice legally. And I went ahead and opened up my own firm where I provide immigration services in terms of all visa types, as well as my license gave me that opportunity as well to represent those who are seeking refugee status in Canada from all over the world. And I also practice before the Immigration and Refugee Board in terms of refugees appeal as well at the Immigration and Refugee Appeal Division, as well as those who are detained by immigration as well at the ID. I also represent clients there. So I'm excited to be able to have a share of position and discussion because of course that's my specialty when it comes to Canadian immigration law.
It clearly shows that this debate going to be a fiery one, very much educative, and we ask all of our viewers to stick with us as we have these professionals that will be explaining about the danger associated with immigration fraud and visa scam. Sharon, can you tell us a bit about yourself and what you bring to the debate?
Sure, thank you. I am also a regulated Canadian immigration consultant.
Hello,
first of all, Liberian.
Yeah, Chris, we are getting you. We are getting you, Chris. We are getting you, Chris.
No, this is VAR. This is Seva, Anthony Seva.
You are loud and clear.
Thank you.
Okay, Sharon, go ahead.
Thank you. So yeah, I was saying that first of all, I'm a Liberian. I moved to Canada in 2019, and I'm a new Canadian. So of course, I went through the immigration process myself as an immigrant. I also went to Queen's University, and I have a license to practice immigration law in Canada. So I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. I am authorized to practice all areas of Canadian immigration law. So whether it's someone who wants to visit Canada, study in Canada, or even have a refugee representation, just the full spectrum of Canadian immigration law. When I moved to Canada, I worked with the Liberian government in the oil and gas industry there. And so I bring a lot of community and stakeholder engagement skills to this field now. And so it's a pleasure to be here and be able to serve our people and then assist, because one of the reasons why I came into this field was because didn't have any help. Like I didn't have information. I didn't have a lot of support, and I had to navigate things myself. And so I wanted to be the person who would help other newcomers to Canada. Yeah, so that's one of the reasons we're here today, and I'm really happy for the platform.
Thank you so much. And we are being joined by Anthony Seva. He brings the legal aspect to this discussion. I say welcome.
Thank you very much.
So who is he?
Well, C is a noble being who has a degree in law from the Louis Arthur Grant School of Law. I presently work under the judiciary, just coming from the executive branch. I'm now under the judiciary as the statutory magistrate from Bible, Ministerial Court in Nima County. I mean, it is a great opportunity to be part of this show where we share our expertise, especially when it relates to the legal aspect of immigration and how people can know about an obligation when it comes to obtaining permits to enter other countries and how and the immigration scam and fraud can be curtailed. So I'm happy to be part of the discussion today, and I hope we share ideas and then we'll learn from each other. And the public will benefit from the discussion.
Thank you so much for that introductory statements coming from all of our guests this afternoon here in Liberia. And thanks to all of those who have joined us via Facebook and also following us on Sky FM 107.2. Later on during this discussion, we're going to open our telephone lines to afford you the opportunity to interact with all of our guests. Now, let's start this discussion by going to a foundational question. What is immigration fraud and visa scam? Chris?
Well, so Samuel, first of all, when it comes to immigration fraud, I'd like to take us just a little bit to what the Canadian law says, the Canadian immigration law says, when it comes to who provide immigration services to the general public, right? So according to the Immigration and Refugee Protection Act, in Section 91(1), that law is very clear. It describes who can provide services to the general public or any who trying to come to Canada on any type of visa type, right? So, subject to that law, it says that no person shall directly or indirectly represent or advise a person for consideration, right? So if someone does not have a license to practice immigration law, they cannot do so, right? So if that person is providing immigration services or advice for a fee, that constitutes a crime, right? You have to be either a lawyer, a regulated Canadian immigration consultant with a license that is currently active and valid, or a Notre de Quebec, Notre de Quebec, the Chambers. So that
Chris,
pretty much means someone.
Chris, let me just hold you there, and because I want you to lay emphasis. Because what I got from you is that you have to be listening before you provide immigration services to anybody who wanting to travel or anybody who have a status, for the application or what have you. I want you to strike that point because some of the victims that we have are not going after people who are accredited. So I want for you to strike that point so that our listeners can understand.
Okay, right. So basically, the law is saying that if you are not licensed, you cannot provide immigration services.
Okay.
So that means, as an applicant, before you hire someone to help you with your immigration dreams, that person must have a valid and active license.
Okay.
Right? So the reasons why fraud happens or scam happens is because on the one hand, those who are the applicants, if you're going to someone that said we can help you, or if you heard that this person is providing immigration services, the very first thing that you need to do is to ask questions. And when I said ask questions, you have to ask technical questions to ensure that person is a legitimate person to begin with. Not an agent, not someone who says they are working on behalf of another person, right? You need to speak directly to the person who have a license. And to determine someone's license, that is a public information. It's nothing hidden. So you can do that research for yourself to ensure that the person is valid. That's where the fraud or scam starts from. So I just wanted to give context to begin with. It's not somebody who have a business and the business is a registered business with the respective government where they are. That does not give that person authorization to provide any type of immigration services or advice.
Okay, thank you so much. And Sharon, immigration fraud and visa scam is not just unique to Liberia, but I want to draw you to Liberia and to tell us and to tell our viewers what are the more common scams that Liberians are falling to.
Good. Thank you for that question. Just to follow up in line with what Christopher said. So Christopher spoke from the side of the so-called service provider who is not licensed to provide a service. Mm-hmm. There is also responsibility on the part of the applicant or the candidate, because immigration fraud, that person could also participate in immigration fraud. And things that we have seen common in that line is the participation in the processing of fraudulent documents, the provision of fraudulent documents. We have seen that happen a lot. So that's the responsibility that I would put on the applicants, right? Sometimes they know that they are participating in immigration fraud, not only because they're working with someone who is not licensed, but who has promised them what they want to hear, but also because they want to have the best outcome, and so they are willing to commit immigration fraud by providing fraudulent documents. So that is one part. Now back to the service providers. One of the common things we've seen is where they have promised these people who are desperately looking for a better opportunity out there is work. They tell you we have work opportunities, we have jobs, bring your passport, pay the fees, we're going to place you, we're going to send you out of Liberia to work. And now because of the economic situation in many parts of the global south, people want opportunities to work. So a lot of times people fall prey to these kinds of immigration scams. Sometimes you see people who have not even finished high school, and usually that's the minimum that international employers will require a person to have, at least in a high school diploma. Excuse me. And that person doesn't have it, but they have been promised that they will be given a job. And so usually that doesn't end very well. People end up being sent to countries where they are held against their will, and they end up selling all of their goods, leave Liberia, and then end up stuck up in some other country where they were not promised, or maybe they move them to a place, somewhere in the Middle East, where they are held against their will and forced to work in a field that they didn't sign up for. So that is the common immigration kinds of immigration frauds we see coming out of Liberia and West Africa specifically. Of course, there's more other kinds of fraud that happens, including marriage fraud and things like that. Yeah.
Thank you. Marriage fraud. This is a very interesting order. Anthony Va, from the legal standpoint, how do you view all of what your colleagues have said?
Well, I would say that most of what they have said is what we have been experiencing, especially in Liberia, where most of our young colleagues who are too eager to travel are taken advantage of. Because in the first place, you go to somebody who has not traveled before, but say he can make you to travel.
Yeah.
You don't even care to know whether that guy is a reputable person. You don't even want to know whether that person is a genuine person, but because you want to travel, you fall victim to this scam. And I think these things are happening because of to know what's going to this. All we want to do
are you getting
to
me?
travel. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. We'll listen. Fire, go ahead. We are getting you. Okay, as we are waiting, let me go back to Sharon. Sharon, I want you to throw more light on what you made mention of marriage fraud. Yeah, Fire, can you get me now?
Yes. Sorry, it was some interruption from the internet. No, I'm actually in Nima County in the Liver place address. So I'm sorry for that.
Yeah, go ahead.
So as I was saying, legally there are a lot of laws in Liberia that speak towards fraudulent act. I mean, these laws are laws that punish people who are involved into it. Because if you receive money from me, the penal law is there. So the law that various punishment that are accorded to some of these fraudulent acts. Even the alien nationalization law also speak to. So there are a lot of laws, but the most important thing is that most of our youth, because of the economic condition we find ourselves in, regardless of the country they want, all they want to know, I want to travel. And we have a lot of them who have gone to one. I even know of a lady who was president because she was arrested on her way back, and because people feared that this to go, and she was supposed to work for certain years, and they seize her passport and the rest. And then she's there in custody now because she needs to pay the money back before she come back home, because she never knew where she was going. All she knew, she wanted to travel from Liberia. Now I tell people that Liberia, we will be having our difficulties back home here, but our country is and other people. If you enter places that Oman and the rest, the people are living like slaves. The blacks that go there are living as slaves. So we need to make sure that some of these people are, informed and awareness goes around for the, or just because you want to travel, involve yourself into this illegal agency that present to themselves to be good agencies. And I think it's affecting our economy, it's affecting our people and the life of our people. So we need to really see how we can have most of these talk shows to give them some awareness on these issues.
Thank you. This is the Police Dialogue, a public service program produced by the Liberia National Police, and today we are discussing immigration fraud and visa scam. We have Sharon H. George, based in Canada. She's a guest. And we also have Christopher Dennis, and we also have Anthony Save, providing the legal perspective to this debate. We'll go back to Chris. Chris, who are those responsible to serve as agent or provide immigration services according to the laws of Canada?
Well, so thank you. That's a really good question, and I'm really glad that we're having this discussion, and I will hope that most Liberians who are watching this today are paying attention, or maybe would watch this later on. Should really understand this conversation and also ask questions, along the lines, or reach out if get details, insights. But let's talk about agents. Okay. So when we talk about visa agents, or maybe immigration agents, whatever the name is usually called, but in Canada, they are referred to as unauthorized persons, right? So the name itself is unauthorized because they are not authorized to venture into these legal fields, right? So the only way, or the only time someone becomes an agent, unless that person have gone through the vetting process. And the vetting process is not done by me as a legal professional. That vetting process is done by the governing body that regulates our license. They are the ones that will vet that into that person or company or agency have never ever provided any type of immigration services before, right? That's part of the vetting process. Of course, a background check, criminal record check, all of those, to ensure that person also follow the legal processes of what it means to be an agent, because an agent cannot provide immigrant advice. An agent cannot fill up documents. An agent cannot collect documents from potential clients or applicants, right? An agent cannot collect someone's passport, right? Okay. Things that the agent is not authorized to do. So as of today, we don't have agents under our license, and there are specific reasons for that. And I don't foresee me having an agent under my license anytime soon. And the reasons is I need to have an agent who I trust, that will never provide any type of immigration services or even request for money from someone who reach out to them. Because whatever an agent does can greatly affect my license. So that is the reasons why we are very careful. An agent can never be a middleman. So sometimes those who are posing to be agents, what they are doing is they are telling applicants that I'm an agent. For an example, John Doe, I'm the agent in Canada, right? But if someone who is an agent, for me, I have to speak to the client directly. I have to engage with the client directly. And in so doing, John Doe, who is my agent, can never be in any of the conversations that I'm having with the clients, right? Because there are confidential information that I'm discussing with the client, and that agent never know about it, right? Unless that client themselves made a decision that they are going to discuss that with the agent. So people who pose to be agent, right? Everything that they're doing is illegal, right? When they take a passport from most of our people in Liberia, they pretend that now the person is getting very close to getting visas. For me, as a legal professional, I never get to see the physical passport of my clients, right? Because I don't need to get the passport.
So
I only
agent,
need a copy
so
of the
agents should not be
passport.
asking for passport.
Agents should not ask for any document at all, not only passport.
Okay.
So a lot of our people in Liberia, they've lost their passports because they took the physical passport and they gave it to these agents. You're not supposed to give anyone your passport, even me as a legal representative, unless immigration requests for your passport and they send you strict instructions on how you should send your passport in. And part of that instruction is not to give your passport to any other person, but follow the direction on the instruction for request of passport.
Okay, Sharon, Sharon, what do I look for as a red flag when I'm interacting with someone who want to help me to leave my country to another country? What do I look for?
Wonderful. Wonderful question. The red flags are many. And if you see just one of it, you should, have your antenna up immediately. The first thing is you should find out whether that person is licensed to practice. So whether that person is a lawyer, whether you can find their name and license status within the Bar Association database. Or if the person is a regulated Canadian immigration consultant, such as Christopher and myself, whether you can find our names and our authorization to practice in the database of the college. Okay? That is public information. All you need to do is to go there, type our names, you will find us. If you do not find the person, the name of the person who says they are representing you, that person is not licensed to practice immigration law. Okay. That's the number one red flag. Another one is what we found out is sometimes there are some very corrupt professionals as well. They will maybe pose as maybe legitimate companies. Like Christopher said earlier, they probably register their businesses. Everything is legal business. They're doing consultancy, whatever business or airline ticketing or whatever they're doing in their home country is a legitimate business-wise, right? But then they come to you and say they're working in partnership with a Canadian licensee. Okay, and then you will have to go through them. That again, that's another red flag, because licensees are supposed to interface directly with the client. All payments, all documents, all communication directly with the client. There's no middleman in here. That is a red flag if you see that. Okay, another thing, if they're promising you heaven on earth, just run. Because they have no control over the decisions that will be made regarding your case. The only person who can make a decision about your application is the Canadian visa officer. And that visa officer has broad discretion. They could wake up in the morning. We could submit the best application with all of the laws, everything typed for our clients. That officer could wake up in the morning and say, today I don't feel like seeing people from Liberia right now. For whatever reason, they will justify a refusal. But of course, because you have adequate representation from people who are competent and authorized, we are able to go back and say, no, this was addressed. you should not have denied my clients, so we can advocate for our clients in our life, but those things happen, right? So, there's no anything that guarantee a visa, that is a red flag. That is a red flag. Even us as licensees, we are not authorized to promise anyone or guarantee anyone a visa. It is literally against our code of professional conduct. We are supposed to be honest with our clients. We're supposed to be respectful. We're supposed to be courteous. We're supposed to be truthful, and we're supposed to show candor. Anything that sounds too good to be true usually is too good to be true. In our practice, we have seen where we have consulted with some clients and we find out they are actually not eligible. So we tell them the truth. You are not eligible at this time for this program, but go and do X, Y, Z and prepare yourself. And those that listen to us end up benefiting, right? It's not going to be the case if you work with someone who has no ethics. They will tell you, yes, bring the money, bring your passport, I'll get you that visa. Those things are all red flags, right? And the list is endless, okay? And sometimes they'll tell you to not communicate directly with the so-called boss or so-called licensee that is in Canada or outside of the country. You have to communicate through them. That is another red flag. The red flag, they have no website, they have no official page, they operate in a very shady manner. They use WhatsApp. That's where, because what they do is, and I want our listeners to understand this. Sometimes you call up, you can get us on WhatsApp and you get upset.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Email protects you more than calls. Email leaves a trail of communication. Okay? So when you speak with someone, and that's the way these people operate. They set up these fancy things, put it out there, and then they sit and wait to take your call, because that's the real job that they're doing. They're taking your calls all day. They're going to be taking your calls, right? Because they don't have, they're not working. Yeah. Okay, you can't call a firm that's going to be available to answer your calls when they are paying clients. So those are red flags. Okay, it's endless. Christopher, did I leave anything out?
Nope, you hit it right on the head.
Let me just hear from the legal man, Anthony Silva. From what Chris and Sharon said, are there crimes are being committed in this process? And if crimes are being committed, what does the law of Liberia says?
So, based on what they just said, there are a lot of crimes that have been committed. One would be deception, receiving money on false pretense, and that is theft. It's only theft of property, and then that would be a felony of the second or third degree crime, depending on the amount involved. Yeah. And there are penalties involved. There are penalties involved in that. We also have some that could be this dominion. That means that something below 300 and the rest. So if you go to the penal law is very clear on some of these issues. But most often, and before I even come to that, before you even go, somebody tells you that they have an agency that helps you to travel. First of all, ask them, what is your business registration? Because for you to be a consultant in Liberia, you should be registered as a legal entity to operate. But some of them don't even have that business registration. They don't have it. And so then they will tell you, say, what we are doing, keep it secret. Don't tell anybody. When that thing, someone start telling you that keep this secret, why would someone do, information of this nature? If you are doing business, they say you keep it secret. Don't tell anybody. So that should even raise that red flag to show that there is something beyond this. So they are there. So even if you go to the Alien and Nationalization Law, also speak to fans, those who violate immigration laws. I think the maximum imprisonment is 1 year, or $1,000, or both. So you could be punished both. You could pay the $1,000 and still go in jail for 1 year, or you could pay either. So the laws are there, but we people need to be educated on these laws, because once their rights are violated, sometimes They don't know their way forward. So the first instance, you can get to the police, report this case to the police. We will start the investigation as to whether there's a probable cause. When there's a probable cause, the police will now shift that to the code. It could be the ministerial code, it could be the secret code, but no, the code of, for instance, the ministerial code. But depending on the amount involved, because I think it's about 50,000 up.
50,000 up.
Below, 50,000 up is above the jurisdiction of the ministerial code. But below that, you can take it to the ministerial code, and then there will be some hearing, and then these people can be punished for that. Also, there are laws on our books that protect these people. When people violate, there are laws that protect that. So if you go to the penal law, you can get it there. If you go to the alien and naturalization law, you can also get it there.
Okay, Sharon, assuming that somebody has paid a person to render all of these helps that we are discussing, what can that person do for redress?
Right. So if somebody has already paid their hard-earned and you find out that there is something shady, first of all, go and request a refund. Let them know that you are going to report them to the Canadian government or to whichever government that I for you for. Tell them you want your money back. Tell them that if maybe they have your login details and stuff like that, and usually they do, and they will not give you access to it. Just bring it to the law, like the attorney has said here. Take them to the police. There's go to Google, search the RCMP if it's Canada. That's the overhead police in Canada. Report them to the police. Don't let them take advantage of you. Report them to the police. You have power. That's why it's important to get information. That's why platforms like this exist, for us to come on and give you information. As they say, information is power. And when you get the information, you have to act on it. Don't wait for somebody to do it for you. Google is free. Go to Google, search, how do I report somebody in Canada who has stolen my money? Everything will come up. You'll follow the instructions and you'll be able to report them. If they're not cooperating, we have seen it a lot of times, Christopher and I, we have had people come to us and say, this is what is happening. How can you help us? We direct them. Go and get this. And sometimes we've even had people come in and hire us for the visa refusal review service, where we go and request their notes or from the Canadian government, and we find out terrible things have happened to them, including sometimes they have been banned for misrepresentation, for providing fraudulent documents, and sometimes so-called agents decided that they were going to provide documents that will fit their promise of giving a visa. Right. And then the person finds out that I don't even have how come there's a business registration in my name that was submitted, right? So those things actually do happen. And when you find out any kind of sign of a red flag, immediately stop working with them. Don't give them any more money. Report them to the police. If possible, get a lawyer locally. Attorney Va is there. The police are there. Contact them. Get a lawyer, get legal representation. Once they realize that you are being serious, they will be careful. They will refund your money, and they will try not to do it. I'm not going to say they will stop, because they will probably never stop in his lifetime. But at least it will kind of deter them from, victimizing other people.
So Samuel, I just wanted to add one point over, in addition to what my colleague just mentioned. So even though the person may pay you the money back or want to pay you the money back, however, the reasons why it's very important for you to proceed with a legal matter on that particular incident or incidents is because if you have an intention to come to Canada again after a visa refusal, when we are addressing your previous visa refusal, which you had unknowingly hired someone who was not licensed, we have to provide evidence, right? It's not just writing RCC and telling them, well, the person said they used someone who was unlicensed, right? We must produce court documents. We must produce police reports, right, to back what we are saying on your behalf. Otherwise, there's no need. I'm not going to take your money if you don't have those documents available, because you're definitely getting your refusal again.
Okay, thank you. The police dialogue here on the Liberia National Police Facebook page and being followed on Sky FM 107.1. When we come back, we'll look at document fraud and criminal liability, excuse me. We'll take a break and we'll be back.
Protection in progress. Have you ever wondered how the Liberian National Police keep our community safe? Want to know your rights in the role you play? Introducing Police Dialogue, an interactive public service podcast. Each week, senior officers, law enforcement experts, the community leaders discuss crime prevention, community policing, road safety, and how citizens can help. Tune in, ask questions, be a part of the conversation that builds a safer Liberia. Police Dialogue, working together for peace, protection, and progress. Police Dialogue, join the Liberian National Police and community leaders for weekly conversation on safety, rights, and road safety. Tune in on the official LNP Facebook page, Police Dialogue, working together for peace, protection, and progress. Have you ever wondered how the Liberian National Police keep our community safe? Want to know your rights in the role you play? Introducing Police Dialogue, an interactive public service podcast. Each week, senior officers, law enforcement experts, the community leaders discuss crime prevention, community policing, road safety, and how citizens can help. Tune in, ask questions, be a part of the conversation that builds a safer Liberia. Police Dialogue, working together for peace, protection, and progress. Police Dialogue, join the Liberian National Police and community leaders for weekly conversation on safety, rights, and road safety. Tune in on the official LNP Facebook page, Police Dialogue, working together for peace, protection, and progress. Have you ever wondered how the Liberian National Police keep our community safe? Want to know your rights in the role you play? Introducing Police Dialogue, an interactive public service podcast. Each week, senior officers, law.
Thanks for rejoining us. This is the Police Dialogue, a public service program produced by the Liberia National Police. This segment of the program will look at document fraud and criminal liability. Let's talk about fake document. Many people pay agents to create bank statements, employment letters, property documents, invitation letters. Sharon, what does Canadian immigration law say about this? Sharon, are you getting me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so that's fraud, that's immigration fraud, that's misrepresentation. Mm-hmm. Misrepresentation is just a fancy word for lying and being dishonest. So once the Canadian government finds out that you have participated in misrepresentation, document fraud especially, you get a ban from Canada. Now, if you got a 5-year ban from Canada, within the course of 5 years, you are not allowed to submit an application to Canada. That is going to be on your record forever and ever and ever. Now, because Canada shares information with other countries, if you wanted to submit an application to another country, you would have to declare that. Otherwise, you're going to have a second misrepresentation for not declaring your previous misrepresentation. All right? So now, once you declare that, let's say the second application, you declare that you have been banned from Canada for misrepresentation. How do you think that new application is going to be processed? It's not going to be processed under a favorable light. Especially if, as Christopher said before, you didn't file a case with the police. There's no evidence that you did not participate in that fraud, right? There's nothing on the record. There's no way you can defend yourself. That's if actually you did not participate in it, right? So, and then the second one, let's say they missed it. They didn't see that you actually have a ban in Canada. And then you submit that second application and they find out later on 2 bans are in line for you. It's going to make it very difficult. Your credibility as a person, as a human being goes down the drain. Your opportunities that could be international will go down the drain as well. So document fraud is not something to joke about. Don't say, oh, after I know someone who did it and they were successful, now they're in Canada. It's going to come back to bite them.
So getting involved with an agent, and he misleading me to get involved with fake documentation. I should be the one to report it if I'm on a second attempt.
Was that for me?
Yeah, it's a follow-up to the first
Yeah,
question.
definitely. If you were not part of it, if you did not consent to the misrepresentation, and again, we have seen that where people didn't know that these agents were submitting fraudulent documents on their behalf, So it has happened. And so that, again, that's where you have to report it. You have to report it. You have to prosecute that person, ensure that the person is prosecuted so that there are records that you did not participate in it. The records will show that you sued the person actually for doing that to you.
Okay.
And, in cases like that where there's no guarantee that the Canadian government would say, or any other government would say, okay, yeah, fine, come, or you're cleared, or have your records expunged or whatever. But at least it's going to be on the record that you did take action to prove that you are not part of that misrepresentation and that it was an innocent misrepresentation on your part.
Chris, when you check the social media and you see people purporting to be agents, especially wanting to provide opportunities to their colleagues to travel to Canada. And what happens to someone who's traveled to Canada on a fake document? What does the law say?
Well, someone who traveled...
If that person is caught.
Right. So someone who traveled to Canada, who was issued a visa under a false pretense. So what happened on the side of the immigration or visa officer is the officer is examining your application based on several factors, including the genuineness of your application. Your documents are genuine, and the purpose of your visit to Canada is genuine as well, right? So you submitted a document and you are leading the officer to examine the document and make a decision at the end of the day. So what happens is, if the documents were fraudulent and you misled the officer to issue you a visa, number one, that is crime because you made the officer now to create error in the system by issuing you a visa, right? So in the long run, when you are here, several things can happen if it is determined later on that you submit a fraudulent document. You can get your visa revoked and you can be asked to leave Canada.
So
also,
entering Canada does not end a background check.
Well, so what happens is, let's say you came to Canada or you have already entered into the country, right? So if you're here, there could be an audit being run on the system and realize that the documents is fraudulent. Of course, then you will be contacted. But let's say you got the visa, you flew to Canada, and at the port of entry, now you are not meeting the immigration officer at that point. You are meeting the CBSA, the Canadian Border Service Agency,
Okay.
right? That's that you meet, right? So that's how people If you have a visa, that give you a ticket into Canada. At the port of entry, you can be turned out, right? So if the officer is asking you questions about your documents and you are not able to answer the questions because sometimes you don't even know the documents that were submitted on your behalf.
Yeah.
We have seen several cases, right, where people are coming to visit to Canada, but then the person who they are coming to visit, they don't know that person. So if the officer is asking you those questions and you're not able to answer that question, those questions, then obviously you know what will happen right there. They are going to return you. So what Canada is doing nowadays is they are not waiting for you to come on the Canadian soil, right? If you are boarding a plane, sometimes if you appear to be suspicious, the officer can connect with the local immigration agent that is maybe in Ghana, for an example, or probably in Brussels, or I guess maybe in Liberia. I haven't heard that yet. So the officer can communicate asking the passenger questions. And if those questions are not answered properly, they can refuse you from boarding the flight. If you are in Brussels, they are going to return you to your home country. If it is in Accra, Ghana, we've seen a lot. People are crying at the airport because we refuse them from boarding the flight because of fraudulent documents.
Level of feedback. I hope that you can tune down some of the equipment you're using so that we can get the feedback in studio. Anthony Var, the issue of fake documentation it is something, let's be honest, it is something that is alarming here in Liberia with the creation of what we had at the World Trade Center. What does the law say when it comes to someone presenting fake document like bank statement, medical report, high school credential or university credential?
So in the first place, it's a criminal act. So if you read our criminal procedure law, it's clearly stated it's a criminal act under our law. Anything fraudulent, anything that is done against the law, I mean, it's a crime. So if you go to the criminal, for example, if you go to the as I was reading, I mean 5.21 of our alien and naturalization law, it is said that anybody who falsely or fraudulently make or obtain for himself another a visa of re-entering is a crime and it's punishable under our law. So if you go to World Trade Center, as my sister was saying, under marriage, how do you call that marriage?
Fraudulent marriage.
You went to get marriage at the World Trade Center.
Yeah.
How do you call it?
Marriage fraud.
Marriage fraud.
Yeah.
Marriage fraud. You go and prepare a marriage because you want to travel. Maybe because sometimes they say that before you travel, you need a marriage certificate and the rest. Then you go World Trade Center, you prepare a marriage certificate. Then it is discovered. It is fraud. It is punishable under our law. You go to, for example, you need a bank statement. Then you connive with the agent or maybe whosoever is helping you to go to Canada. You go to the bank and they need certain amount in your account, maybe 10,000 and above. Then you go, you pay somebody within the bank to prepare a fake bank statement for you. It's crime. You are also a facilitator to that whosoever is in that document for you. So tomorrow, if you cannot come and hold that even that agents to that fraud, and you can be punished under our law. So there are a lot of issues when it comes to this fraudulent documentations under our law. Even when it comes to university degrees, people want to travel, they need degrees, they need this. And World Trade Center has played that role to relieve people of that. But the implication of that, when you are caught, the law is straight on fraudulent act. There are people who degrees were revoked from the University of Liberia because of the same issues. So we have goods, and when you are caught, you will not be spared. The laws are there, and we should obey the law. Get this document prepared. Let it be. If you are not a university graduate, do not fraud it. If you don't have a bank statement that has 10,000 in the residence act, you don't need to go beyond to do that, because when you are caught, I mean, the law will take a course. And I also sometimes try to advise some of the agencies who try to help people. There are immigration counselors who try to help people to travel. They should advise them adequately, because if they are told in Africa, how many people have, it's not those who want to travel to Canada, America, and the rest, how many of them have 10,000 in their account? If you have 10,000 in your account in Liberia, you are most likely to not leave Liberia, because you are an average man in Liberia. So to go beyond, to go to Canada and then prepare a document that is an illegal document, and you are discovered, you are a facilitator of the crime against yourself, and you can be punished under our law.
And the good news here is that the Liberian National Police, working with the court, have been able to bring the World Trade Center under check. And we got a lot of complaints from foreign embassies complaining of fake documentation, national documents being created at the World Trade Center. So as I speak to you, that center is under closure, fully being managed by the Liberian National Police, and the case is currently before court. Computers were taken from them and brought to the headquarters of the Liberian National Police, where search were made on these computers, and national documents were found on some of the computers, like the citizen ID card, passport, and just name it, university degrees and what have you. So we have been doing a marvelous job here at the headquarters of the Liberian National Police to bring those situations under check. Chris, the issue of work permit and job offer, what's the real story in Canada? Are the offers genuine?
So I would say yes and no. And there's a reasons why there is a yes and there is a no. So let's look at work permit, or working in Canada, or in any country for that matter, right? So in Canada, we try to prioritize all citizens first and permanent resident. That's the goal of Canada when it comes to working in Canada. We want to make sure that our citizens serve first before any other foreign national, right? That's a priority. So what Canada have done is, before a company can hire anyone who is a foreign national from the home country, that company has an obligation. They must be able to post that job on at least 3 to 5 different media, right? And one of them is called the job bank. So the job bank is managed by the Canadian government, so that it shows that you as a company, you are meeting these requirements. So that's the first requirements there for any company to hire outside of Canada. If you don't do so by following those processes, you can't hire anyone. Because before you can give a job offer, there is something that is called the job labor market assessment, right? So they have to assess to ensure that there is no Canadian that can perform those duties, right? And you as a company, you must be able to demonstrate that you have posted these jobs and you have not found a Canadian or a permanent resident to do this job, right? So that's the only way you will be giving what is called LMIE in order for you to proceed in hiring outside of Canada, right? So companies don't just give job offer and hire people outside of Canada. It does not work that way, right? So, I mean, in Liberia, I see they've been talking about, work permit and the jobs and things like that. So Canada does that differently. There's no quarrel about that. There's a strict policy. There's a strict rule. Company must follow those rules, right? And the work permit is not even issued by a ministry. The work permit is issued by immigration, right? So that's the uniqueness of the formation of Canada, the Canadian system. There's no Ministry of Public Works, right, that is going to issue someone a work permit. It does not happen. And the reasons why it does not happen that way is because the person who is coming to Canada, that is an immigration process that they need to follow, right? So the Ministry of Public Works or Labor has nothing to do with immigration, right? So that particular portion is not under the Ministry of Public Works or Labor. It is under immigration, right? Because this has something to do with national security, Samuel. And the national security of the country must be protected. So Canada says before anybody attempt to come through our borders, we need to verify that they are not criminals. We need to verify that they are good citizens. We need to verify that they meet the requirements to do that job. So it makes it easy here for us. So on that basis, right? Now, if someone says, well, we have a job to give you, right, there should be an LMIA, either an open LMIA or a closed LMIA. What that means is the department that issued that LMIA told the company, that is the ESDC. The ESDC as well is another body that verify. They go to that company, they check that company, that the company have met all of the requirements, not the Ministry of Labor as well, right? So once that entity have verified that, yes, this company meets the requirements, then they give them that document. And now the company now can hire outside of Canada. So there is a strict process. Go ahead.
On a point. Len.
Sorry, were you saying something to me?
No, I have a question for Sharon, but I want you to learn on the point that you are making.
Okay, thank you. So I will just be quick here now.
Yeah.
Basically, when you go through all of those processes, before a company can now hire you, right? So I really want our people to pay attention to these details when it comes to work permit, coming to Canada. You have to listen to this. My Liberian people, I will speak in real Liberian English right now on this one, right? My Liberian people, I beg you, if somebody tell you, say, they get work permit to give you to come to Canada to come work in Canada here, make sure that you have spoken to the company, right, for an interview, because it's very easy, guys. You can't get a job without being interviewed for the job to begin with. You must be interviewed by the company, right? And then the HR and the hiring manager will interview you. After that, they may tell you, well, we will get back to you. They will communicate with you through email. They will email you and tell you either A, there is a second round of interview, right? Or the thing that you are a best candidate, they will email you from their company's email, not a free email like Gmail, Outlook, Yahoo email, all those free stuff. Company don't operate that way, right? So the moment you are not going through a regular interview process, that's a red flag and you should know it. But there are some people like Anthony Va mentioned, my colleague Sharon mentioned, some people intentionally decided that they are not going to pay attention to those key and important factors, they want to get to Canada today. And they proceed without any job interview. And they proceed in paying people to give them job. That doesn't work that way. So if you don't follow a normal process on interviews, right? And the company communicating with you through email, not through WhatsApp, not through text messages or Facebook. That's not how it works. So you should know, even if you're in Liberia, or maybe some of your viewers are outside of Liberia, we all know how company hires. You must go through the hiring process. Anything falls short, just cut your losses and turn your back, because you definitely going to end up into losing a lot of money. And I think it's not something that you want to do. And this is the main reasons why we're here to shed light on these things that you can spot, those common pitfalls that you will go through. Some people, knowing that, we are legal and we can represent them. But again, because they look at fees and say, well, maybe the fee is too high. The guy behind the corner, on Broad Street or Pinsville, Joba Market, or wherever they are, they're charging you $500, right? So you say, well, it's cheaper, I'll go that way. I will say this as I close on this point. Professional is not cheap, and cheap is not professional.
So much. And you spoke about communication between the agency and the applicants. It must be genuine, not Yahoo, Gmail, and what have you. Sharon, my question to you is this. Some people communicate from Canada, the Canadian numbers, to family members in Liberia, and they're telling the family members to interact with the agent. And from all of the explanation from the TD of yours, it shows that a victim must be sophisticated before that victim can realize a red flag. But anything short of that, that victim would tend to just lose everything. So I want you to throw a light on a Canadian number calling you and to make it genuine that you should give your money to XYZ.
Okay, thank you for that very important question. What I would say to that is, first of all, if you want to travel, anyone who wants to travel to a different country, especially a country like Canada, you are usually in a position of knowledge, in a position of, financial preparedness. You should into doing some things for yourself as well. Getting information being paramount, right? So we've come here today, we've talked about the red flags, we've talked about the way, what to watch out for, and how the real processes are done. Again, if you came across an individual posting to be a representative, a legal representative who can assist with immigration processes, again, you have to follow the procedure to protect yourself. Anything outside of that, you're setting yourself up for failure, right? So if your relatives abroad want to verify information, I personally have had people call me or even email me. They've called me first and say, oh, my relative gave me your number. I want to help them, but I just wanted to verify that you are real. And I send them back to my email. I said, please send me an email. And the reason why I say send me an email is because, number one, that is my professional practice. That is my process. And I will not change it for many reasons that protect myself and that protects the candidate. I want to have an established thread of communication between myself and anyone who contacts me, because I don't want anyone to come in the future and say, this is what you told me, when that was not what I told them. That's number one. Number two, you are protecting yourself by saying, these are the threads of communication between myself and this person. This was the advice that she gave me, right? And this was how much I paid her. There's evidence, there's thread. You are also protected. So I always send these people back to my email. Send me, just even if it's a one-liner, just send me an email. I will respond to you. One thing here I would say is that when you reach out to a professional and request a service or information, right? Number one, that professional does not have the luxury of time to be on the phone with you because they have work to do, right? So normally the information that I will give to people who reach out to me for the first time by email, if you copied that email and pasted it onto a Word document, it's about 4 pages long. That is a very detailed information I'm giving you. If I were to spend time on the phone discussing that information or interpreting that information to you, I would spend nothing less than 10 to 15 minutes. Now imagine if I get 50 calls a day or 100 calls a day. Will I have time to do my work? No, I will not, right? So that's one part of it. The other part of it, again, is establishing a threat to be able to protect yourself because people can spoof numbers. Christopher is an IT specialist. He knows these things. He was the one who told me about spoofing, how people can spoof numbers. They will take your number, they will copy it, they will do all kinds of things, and then they will call and pose as you. Right? So now if you went to our public information, our public pages, if you went to the college to verify, you will see our official numbers are listed there. Our business information, our business email addresses are listed on Facebook, on our social media pages, so you can't miss it, right? So be safe, take the email addresses and send us an email. And if you see a CA, type .ca, don't type .com, because if you do that, the email is not going to go through. And then they'll come back to us and say that the email is not going through or is not correct, but it is correct. So we encourage you to do those things so that you can protect yourself. For those abroad on this side, we've been able to speak with them and at least let them know that, yes, we're real, you're speaking to us, but send us an email because it's not just about word of mouth. Anyone can sweet talk you. Anyone can tell you what you want to hear. But if you're dealing with a professional, they will usually want to put that information on the record. Now, remember that Christopher and myself, we are immigrants here. We have gone through this process. That we have hired people to process our own immigration applications. So the way that they acted with us, we have also worked with other immigration firms, and we have learned from the way that the processes were done. Okay, so what you see here, this is international best practice. This is not like, oh, we're all Liberians, let's just talk on the phone. It's not the way it works. Our business is not going to be, we're not going to structure our business in a way that is convenient for you and not professional. Meanwhile, we have licenses to protect, right? So everything that we do, everything we propose out there is in your best interest and also in our best interest, okay? So ensure that when you speak with somebody, don't just send money immediately. We will never say just send money because number one, I don't even want anybody to just send me money. You just send me money and then it turns out that you are not even eligible for anything. Now I have to refund. The refund process is long. I don't want to have to deal. I'm afraid of money business. And when it comes to reporting on this side, when you run a business, it's not just take money, put money. You have to report every single cent you earn. Taxes have to be paid. Fees have to be paid. The CRA, which is the IRS equivalent for the US, we have to report to them. So, and want to protect ourselves as well. Okay, my people, we hope that you really take advice and really take it to heart.
A victim to move to court. Let me just hear from Anthony C, because we have to go to the comment section. A lot of people are asking serious questions, and you people need to answer those questions. Anthony Va, how can you encourage a victim to move to court?
When fraud, and then maybe the ad was not deliberate. Maybe it was some documents that did not meet the criteria for visa. But if evidence that maybe the ad was intentional to take money from you, for me, the first instance, if you don't have access, because sometimes people feel that they don't have money to pay lawyers and the rest, get to the police actually, and get the cop for investigation. Do the investigation, because if at the some they have city solicitors there who are supposed to represent people because everybody have that money to pay lawyers. So they're free to go when they go to your court. They are free there. Get to them, explain your plight, and help you. And don't be afraid to was made for you. It was made to protect you against all these things. So go to get to some of the lawyers, be able to defend you, and to be able to defend you. And there are many cases that have to be court. And when they come to me, I say, you don't have money, so what you can do, get to the ministerial court. There are lawyers there that are supposed to represent you free of charge. In as much that you may give them something irrelevant that will help you to persuade. Don't just leave it at that. And sometimes I always advise, don't always want to involve a legal mind. Someone to represent, I'll be able to guide. Sometimes if they they see that there's involved in, they'll be a little bit careful. Sometimes they will even back up the action when there's a lawyer involved. So when there's a lawyer involved, the whole activity is new, then you can move on. But when you feel that you are being duped, go to the court, go to the police. They will help you to get redress. And the court is there to give redress to those who are duped in these instant cases.
Thank you. So at this time, let's see what our followers are saying. I want you to pay key attention to your screen and read some of the comments that the viewers and followers are putting for. Marvelous Yang. Good evening, everyone. Thank you always for what you guys doing. Mr. Christopher Dennis and team. Ludo Rogers. Does Canada have a diversity lottery program? What is the cost to hire an immigration lawyer? And is money refundable when you are denied at the embassy? And with your friend, how long does it take for refund? Sister Joma, Sharon and Chris, great insight. Can you guys share your website and other details? No. Okay. We are learning so much today. Thanks to the team. Joma comes back. Thanks for sharing. Where is the Canadian embassy in Liberia? Good question. Okay, so let me just hear from the panelists as we generate more comments. Great rebranding is indeed ongoing holistically at all security agencies. Let's take the comments from the guests. Chris, you read some of those comments. Do you have anything to say, any one of you? Chris, Sharon, Vi, you read those comments. Some of the questions coming from the viewers. You're off.
I think hello, can you hear me?
You getting me?
I can hear you, but
Yes, go ahead.
I
I'm
don't know
hearing
if
you.
you're hearing us.
I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you.
Okay. All right. So there are some questions there, but one of the questions that struck me, and I'm pretty sure my colleague will comment, and Anthony Va as well. They were asking about if they apply for visa and they got a visa refusal, will they get a refund? That was one of the questions, right, Ms. Josh?
Yeah, yes, reform.
Right, right. So let's put it this way, and I can expand on it. The answer is no. There is no refund, right? So you pay someone
At a
or
legitimate,
you hire someone.
hello? At a
Yeah.
legitimate agency, no reform?
Yes. Yes. And I'm speaking from a legitimate agency, sorry, not agency, a legitimate firm perspective,
Okay,
and
okay.
in line with the law as
Yeah.
well, right? So, number one, we don't do contingency billing to begin with. And that means, you pay me part of the money, we do the work. If we get the visa, then you pay the balance. Or if there's no visa, then everybody go their way, right? That's contingency building. In our legal practice, we don't do that. You must pay all of the fees, even if it is payment, milestones or payment plan, if you will. You have to complete the full amount that you're being charged for before we can submit your application. That's number one. And number two, the main reasons why it is very, very important throughout your entire immigration journey, you must have a consultation. That's the very first step of our legal practice. Consultation is very important because at that consultation, that's where we discuss part of the reasons why you are coming for immigration services. And during that consultation, you will get a holistic understanding on the entire framework of your application process, right? So during that consultation, we're assessing you to see if you will even meet any requirements, right, for a particular immigration process, right? Number one. So there we will tell you whether you will meet that requirements or not, right? So before we start to even take money from you, you will show, we will show that you either meet the requirements or you don't meet the requirements, which will lead to us not proceeding with you because you don't meet any of the requirements. So we there's no need to take money from you. That's why consultation is very important. And I'm pretty sure Anthony Va as well will speak to that from, the legal perspective on the Liberian side as well. Now, the next thing is when you hire us, you get a service agreement first. And in that service agreement, it outlines the scope of work that we're going to be doing, right? Why you're paying us. It is in your service agreement. In that service agreement as well, it also states that there is no refund, right? Once we start working on your behalf. You see, so you get to know all of this information from day one. So, you're not going to get at the end of the road if you got a visa refusal and you say, well, since I got a visa refusal, maybe I think I need my money back. We have spent billable hours through your entire process. It's not 1 day or 2 days. And we're putting hours in it. So if we are refunding the money back to you, then who pays for the billable hours, right? That's why in our Code of Professional Conduct, right, it states there in section 44, 2B, A, B, and C, that we must not guarantee an applicant the success of an application. We must not mislead an applicant under false pretense that we have a connection with any government agency or immigration, right? I can't hear you.
Sharon, are you getting me? Sharon?
It's weird.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Sharon, I'm hearing you. Are you getting me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, you see the comment on the screen. Can you answer the question?
Right. So we have a visa refusal review service. That's one of the things that we provide. We're able to assist with this, so that person can send us an email. We will be able to help her. So what we will do in a case like this is we would reach out. There are some authorization and consent forms that they will fill out, and then we will approach the Canadian government as their representatives and say that this person applied for a visa, and then can you please provide us all of the documentation provided on this person's behalf, and they will provide it to us. So once we get that, we schedule a meeting, and then we go through everything, and then we explain what the notes are, because sometimes they would give the refusal letter will state generic reasons, right? Like there is no proof that you have sufficient funds. Maybe you had so many, you have more than enough money, but then the refusal comes back and says that you had insufficient funds. There are reasons why you work with professionals, because we know how to present your funds, right? So that could be the reason. But the bottom line is there are detailed notes that officer would write. Before July 29th of this year, they didn't provide the notes. But now, if you got a refusal after the 29th of July 2025, they usually come with the officer's decision notes now. But they don't give the documents that were submitted on your behalf. So that is a service we are also still able to assist with. We can request that information, see everything that was submitted, and that is how we have been able to find out the kinds of fraudulent documents that were submitted on behalf of these people, sometimes knowingly and sometimes unknowingly. Yeah, so we're able to help. Let the person send us an email.
Chris? Yes. Okay, can you answer the concern on the screen?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, the question the person asked me, of course. Look, anyone can fill up
their own visa application forms. You can fill up your own forms. You can submit your application on your own. It's not compulsory that you must hire, a legal firm or someone who is licensed to practice immigration law. It's not compulsory. And this is why, if you go on the Canadian government website for immigration, all the information is right on the website as well. But the reasons why people hire legal professionals to represent them is because they don't want to make mistakes, right? In Canada, every year they file taxes. So every year what I do is I go and try doing the taxes myself. But when I get to the end of it, I am afraid to submit it because I don't know if I have made a mistake on the taxes. I don't want to get in trouble. So that's the reasons why I hire a professional tax preparer, because I don't know how to do it properly and I don't want to make mistakes and get in trouble. So yes, you can do your application yourself, and that's not a problem at all.
Screen. Sharon, can you answer the question on the screen, please?
Right. So do you have an office in Liberia? So Mario Immigration Services does not necessarily have an office in Liberia, but we do have like a service center that, we send our clients to for like submitting documentation, picking up documentation that is with a partner organization there in Liberia it's just on Broad Street. But Mario Immigration Services is based here in Canada. That's where it's registered. All immigration work is done in Canada. There is nobody in Liberia that's going to ever say that they're working with us to do immigration work for you. Okay. All of our work is done virtually. Processing times vary. Again, it varies. And it's the sole discretion of the Canadian government regarding processing times. And it changes based on the kind of application you're submitting, based on the kind of country you're coming from. All of these factors play in. So yeah, there's no definite time for all of the applications. And again, there's a lot that plays in with the individual themselves, right? So how fast are you able to provide documentation? We have some clients that come to us, it takes 3-4 months before they even provide us their own documentation. A lot of times we have to be the ones chasing them to provide the documentations that we need to submit the application that they paid us for. You can imagine. So, it comes down, everybody has a responsibility in this process, right? Can you also process or help people living in Nigeria? If the person is living in Nigeria, anywhere in the world, as long as you're a resident, a legal resident of that country, we can assist you. Doesn't matter where you're from.
Dialogue, it seems to be a very special edition on immigration issues. And then we have the issue of QNet in Liberia, where many persons are falling prey to, I guess, that Antonin Farr. I don't know whether the kind of a case has reached his desk, where you have people duping others to travel. Antonin Farr, have you seen that? Have it come before your court? The issue of QNet?
From our court, no, because where I am assigned, I'm most only to cases because where I am is when they leave up country.
Okay.
Most of them happen to those who live in
the city center.
The kind of rest center where I know as the population grows, you have people who are also being a little bit tricky.
Yeah.
And most of the people live in the cities. They don't live on the side of our coast. But in this case, it's similar in the city court in Morocco was the practicing lawyer. Present, I'm a judge. So I don't count on these issues. Some of them have been arrested. So that's a compound where they will be illegal money from people. Some of them will be and then hand it over to the court. Some issues that come up. The court, no.
Okay, we have less than 5 more minutes to be on the show. We have other things that we did not touch. So we're going to seek permission from our bosses to make sure that we have a second edition of this all-important program. Because from the Facebook Live, we observed that a lot of people have created or generated interest in this discussion, but because of time, we cannot go forward with it. So I'll go over to Christopher to give us his parting comments.
Thank you, Samuel, for inviting us on your show, the Police Dialogue. And thanks to the Liberian National Police for organizing, these kind of informative discussion so that it will inform, our people to be safe, to protect their finances, and also to protect lives. I've dealt, Charles, with individuals who lost, a child in the process. It was very emotional and very frustrating with the clients where the situation happened to them, and that's why I think there are so many reasons why we will be happy to come whenever you guys call to have this discussion, because this is a national security matter. Of our people being scammed and duped and taken into other countries, like Anthony Voa mentioned. Also, I would like to also say that if you want to reach out to us, you're more than welcome. You're not compulsory to hire a lawyer, of course, or a consultant. But, if you want to be successful, sometimes not to make mistakes, if you're not too sure, then you want to get a legal mind to review your application for you. We have a review service as well. And also, I want to let, the audience know, look, the service that we provide is service that we provide to the general public, not only to Liberia. right? And I hear most of the time people say, well, your charges is too high, it's too expensive. So this is where you get into trouble, right? Because if you don't have money to just pay $100 for your consultation, or maybe a few hundreds or thousands of dollars to pay for your service, how are you going to demonstrate to an officer that, in fact, you even meet the financial obligation, right? So most people who say it's expensive but they want to try, they will definitely go to the scammer to prepare fraudulent document for you. Believe me, there are individuals that will be on here listening now or later on, and they will hear this information, but says, well, it's so expensive over there, so I'll just go and the guy will, I'll pay $300. They will do all the paperwork for me.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, that's fine. But if you have aspiration to travel abroad, not only Canada, look, do it the right way. Immigration officers across the globe, they are trained professionals. That's the job. The job is to examine an application of who is coming into the country. They're not just going to look at an application and you think they're going to turn a blind eye. If that's what you're thinking, or if that's what someone who is unauthorized to provide service is telling you, you are in for a big trouble. And I'd like to close on this small note. Scammers are not smarter than you. Scammers are not more educated than you. They bring albums full with visas pictures in there to coerce you to believe that they're going to put you on the plane and bring you abroad. That's what they do. Look, this is an organized crime. When you go to their office, John Doe or Mary Brown will just surface from nowhere and come thanking them, right, for helping them. They got the visa and they will be traveling tonight. You're sitting in the office there. You're listening to that the person is about to travel. Guess what? You are going to definitely pay that money because you just heard John Doe or Mary Brown say she just got her visa and she came to thank them, sometimes bringing gifts and say, I thank you for all the time that you took and everything you did for me. It is intentional. So you have to be careful on what you're doing. If you're not careful, you'll run into trouble. And in the end, you're going to tell the guy who called you every morning to greet you how your family doing. That story is going to change. It's going to either end into curse or you're going to get the police involved. Involve the police. They are there to serve and to protect you from yourself, from not causing harm to yourself and also to the general public. That's what the police is there. Go to them. I heard, Samuel, that someone said, well, we went to the police and the police said, well, they were not there when you were doing the transaction, so it's not the problem. I don't believe that the police officers are there to do that. The officer becomes very interested in that case because they want to know what is happening and get at the bottom of that. So when you run into trouble, contact the police, erect a lawsuit, because in the end, you will get justice in that way. But thank you for having me, and I really appreciate the conversation today.
Thank you. Shara?
Sorry?
Your party statement. Yep.
Oh, yeah. So I just wanted to say thank you for this opportunity to be able to speak here on this platform today, to be able to speak here with my colleagues, Christopher Dennis and Attorney Va, as well as you, sir, our host, Mr. DCP Collins. Thank you so much for having us, for having this opportunity to, speak to the public and educate them. I can only say that I hope that this opens the eyes of the public. And please, 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 we are speaking in your best interest here. We want you to succeed. We know what it means to go through immigration issues. We have been through the process ourselves, and we are speaking from experience. And we really wish that you would listen and that you would take action to protect yourself and to seek your own best interest, okay? Do not be desperate. Do not be desperate. Do not be desperate. Desperation is what is the gateway to getting scammed, okay? once people realize that you're desperate, and they will put that pressure on you, and you're going to be, you'll fall victim. So please be careful. Book consultations, see where you stand, what your eligibilities are for the different options that are out there for you before you pay any kind of big money to anyone. All right. Be very careful. Get a second opinion if possible. All right. If you have issues locally, reach out to the national police, seek legal representation. We cannot practice Liberian law because we do not have a license to practice Liberian law. We did not go to law school in Liberia, so we cannot help you. But there are legal professionals in Liberia that you can reach out to. We have Attorney Va on here. Reach out to him. You have colleagues in the field that he will be able to direct you to for legal representation. So please protect yourself and do not do things shortcut in the quote-unquote Liberian way. When you say that, what it means is that you're supporting the stereotype that Liberian way is not good, that is always crooked and shady. And I do not agree. All of us on this platform here today, we do not agree with that. We are Liberians and we are professional people who want to do things the right way. So get used to doing things the right way. Canada that you want to come to, you will have to do things the right way. So start practicing in your own country. Thank you very much for
After the Via party comments.
Well, thank you very much. This program is very important for the the police has taken care of our people. This is a great for a lot of us falling skin where they've been duped, their money has been taken from them illegally. But my advice is to be very careful and of themselves before they even involve him giving money. Try to review the agreement. Let it involve a legal person that will guide you process. Don't go and start going because you want to try. If there's time for you to definitely when you just involve yourself that don't genuine. When you feel that there's you experience any process involved this. When the police come out to whosoever the agency will be, that they are genuine, involved, seeing the genuineness of say or whosoever to help you. It is good to travel. Also good to have a limit to travel, faking documents to travel. Because at the end of the day, even the guys trying to dupe you, to know that you rely on that fakeness of that document to even to yourself. So let's do it genuinely. Let's do the right way legally. For you, code is there to protect you. Lawyers are there for you. Lawyers are there for you to justice. Thank you very much for the opportunity as well for more of this engagement to help our life. Thank you very much.
And thanks to Sharon, thanks to Anthony Va and Christopher for your wonderful time and your input to this important discussion. Like I promised, we'll have a second edition of the discussion so that we'll be able to discuss the issue of passport safety, court proceedings, and guarantees, and reform. We'll go back to reform. One of the callers asked about the process of get reform. Thanks for your time. Thanks to our production crew. Thanks to the Inspector General of Police and the entire police department. Compliments of the season to all my guests. Catch you another time. Bye-bye.
Enforcement experts, the community leaders discuss crime prevention, community policing, road safety, and how citizens can help. Tune in, ask questions, be a part of the conversation that builds a safer Liberia. Police Dialogue, working together for peace, protection, and progress. Police Dialogue. Join the Liberian National Police and community leaders for weekly conversation on safety, rights, and road safety. Tune in on the official LNP Facebook page, Police Dialogue, working together for peace, protection, and progress. Have you ever wondered how the Liberian National Police keep our community safe? Want to know your rights in the role you play? Introducing Police Dialogue, an interactive public service podcast. Each week, senior officers, law enforcement experts, the community leaders discuss crime prevention, community policing, road safety, and how citizens can help. Tune in, ask questions, be a part of the conversation that builds a safer Liberia. Police Dialogue, working together for peace, protection, and progress. Police Dialogue, join the Liberian National Police and community leaders for weekly conversation on safety, rights, and road safety. Tune in on the official LNP Facebook page, Police Dialogue, working together for peace, protection, and progress. Have you ever wondered how the Liberian National Police keep our community safe? Want to know your rights in the role you play? Introducing Police Dialogue, an interactive public service podcast. Each week, senior officers, law enforcement experts, the community leaders discuss crime prevention, community policing, road safety, and how citizens can help. Tune in, ask questions, be a part of the conversation that builds a safer Liberia. Police Dialogue, working together for peace, protection, and progress. Police Dialogue, join the Liberian National Police and community leaders for weekly conversation on safety, rights, and road safety. Tune in on the official LNP Facebook page, Police Dialogue, working together for peace, protection, and progress. Have you ever wondered how the Liberian National Police keep our community safe? Want to know your rights in the role you play? Introducing Police Dialogue, an interactive public service podcast. Each week, senior officers, law enforcement experts, the community leaders discuss crime prevention, community policing, road safety, and how citizens can help. Tune in, ask questions, be a part of the conversation that builds a safer Liberia. Police Dialogue, working together for peace, protection, and progress. Police Dialogue, join the Liberian National Police and community leaders for weekly conversation on safety, rights, and road safety. Tune in on the official LNP Facebook page, Police Dialogue, working together for peace, protection, and progress. Have you ever wondered how the Liberian National Police keep our community safe? Want to know your rights in the role you play? Introducing Police Dialogue, an interactive public service podcast. Each week, senior officers, law enforcement experts, the community leaders discuss crime prevention, community policing, road safety, and how citizens can help. Tune in, ask questions, be a part of the conversation that builds a safer Liberia. Police Dialogue, working together for peace, protection, and progress. Police Dialogue, join the Liberian National Police and community leaders for weekly conversation on safety, rights, and road safety. Tune in on the official LNP Facebook page, Police Dialogue, working together for peace,